Hey YouTube, I remembered what else it was that I wanted to talk about in the video that I just posted. And tonight, this afternoon, I watched Montage of Heck. I don't know if any of you guys who watch my channel are Nirvana or Kurt Cobain fans, but I am. I'm a huge Cobain fan. I've loved him most of my life. I was 4 years old when I first saw the video for Smells Like Teen Spirit. And I was a really weird fucking kid. Excuse me. I didn't watch cartoons. I didn't want any part of children's shows or anything like that. My favorite channel when I was a kid, which was the, early to late 90s, was MTV. Back when there was still the M in MTV. And I was like 4, I think, when Nevermind hit. And the first time I saw Kurt Cobain, I was like, oh my god, man, because we didn't have cable, but my grandma did. And I went to grandma's every weekend, and most of the summers, and, that sort of thing. Every chance I got, basically, I was at grandma's house. So she would be walking around, cleaning, doing whatever, and my grandpa was a truck driver, so he was always on the road. So, it was just me and grandma, and she wasn't paying any attention, and that's when I was able to get my MTV on. So I don't want to play right now. Anyway, I've never believed Kurt killed himself. I've read the evidence, I've looked over what they have, I've listened to the audio recordings between Courtney and the private detective who's been trying to get this case reopened in honest, not the bullshit ass little publicity stunt they pulled last year for the 20th anniversary, but an honest new investigation started. And sorry, I'm playing with my big dog who picked right now to decide to play. But I never believed he killed himself. I'm sorry, I cannot think of any time when a person was able to blow their head off and then wipe the fingerprints off the gun. I've never heard of that happening. And even the police report said there were no fingerprints on that gun. So, you tell me how that happens, and then maybe I'll start to believe he killed himself. Until then, as far as I'm concerned, it was not suicide, it was murder. And, that's not the only piece of evidence that they have. Why the hell would somebody who was such a junkie, because, that's been hammered home quite poignantly, why would somebody who was so hooked on heroin, which he was, he loved heroin, he did it, he needed it, he wanted it, whatever. But why would they buy the amount of heroin he had in his system, plus the baggies that were still there, unused, when he was found dead, and then blow their fucking heads off? Why wouldn't they just keep shooting up the rest of their dope until they were dead? That is so annoying. Get out of your fucking car, But anyway, well, there's a crack house across the street. They got their own shit. They ain't about to get out the car. But, so I never believed that it was suicide. But, of course, I knew with who made the movie and the fact that Courtney was the one who initially was kind of spearheading the project. And Frances was the producer, which is Kurt's daughter. That it was going to be told from the point of view that he killed himself. First of all, any documentary that has been made to dispute the idea that Kurt killed himself meets with a lot of bullshit, a lot of funding gets pulled, a lot of backers back out. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Kurt and Courtney, but you can actually watch that happen in that documentary. The man who made that documentary was not making it from the point of view of, oh my god, I'm sure that Kurt was murdered and Courtney did it. He was looking at all angles of the story, and that was not good enough for Courtney, and she tried to stop it any fucking way she could. That's what she does. That's what she's always done. I don't know how she has the clout that she has, but she has literally ruined the careers of journalists, even before Kurt was dead. I don't know if you guys ever heard about the shit that happened with the journalist that told everybody that Courtney was doing heroin when she was pregnant, which she was. But they ran her completely out of the country. So, she has a lot of clout. And she tries very hard to keep people's mouths shut. And she did at one point after Kurt was dead, go to Seattle and try to round up his friends that he may or may not have talked to right before he died to see what the hell they knew. So, but, I mean, as far as the content and the things that they showed in that documentary, that was shit that had never been seen before. And there was some really, really good stuff in there. But, again, I went into it knowing that they were going to pursue it from a Kurt killed himself point of view. But the shit that, oh my god, Courtney fucking astounds me. Like, she forgets all of her lies. She can't keep her lies straight. She can't remember what she has already admitted to because she's so fucked up all the time, or she lies so much or whatever. She can't remember. Like, she was sitting there and she was talking about how Kurt tried to kill himself in Rome, which, for those of you who don't know, about a month and a half before he was found dead, there was an incident in Rome where he OD'd and was taken to a hospital, and he was in a coma for a little bit, and then he came out of it. And at the time, people were asking, you know, was this a suicide attempt? And Courtney was like, no, it wasn't a suicide attempt, blah, blah, blah. And then the minute that he was found dead, it was, well, look what happened in Rome. Everybody knew he was suicidal. By the way, I find it really interesting that they tried to use the incident that happened when he was around 15 or 16, where he, like, half-assedly, half-heartedly tried to kill himself by putting himself on a railroad track as, you know, the focal point, and that, well, see, this is where the suicidal behavior started. But yet, he never tried it again until a month before he was found dead, and the shit doesn't make any sense. But, anyway, back to the Rome incident. Courtney was sitting there and she was saying, you know, oh, he found out I was thinking about cheating on him. I don't know how he found out. He must have been psychic or whatever, but he found out and he took 60 Rufalin. Come on. And he tried to kill himself just because he found out I was thinking about cheating on him. Well, no. The reason he knew she did cheat on him, because she did, was because that year she spent his birthday in bed with Billy Corgan and told him about it. And there are many people who believe Kurt did not do anything to himself that night, that he was drinking champagne and his champagne was drugged. And considering the fact that Courtney will sit there and say, oh, I called the squad as soon as I found him, blah, blah, blah. Yet she had a face full of makeup on and looked like, you know, she had changed her clothes because supposedly she got up from bed and found him. But yet she had a nice outfit on. And, I mean, come the fuck on, you know? It's just, she drives me nuts. And it drives me nuts that his daughter believes that he didn't love her enough to live. Because anybody who has ever read his journals that Courtney published about 13 years ago knows that the one fear Kurt had above all else was that Frances would grow up believing she wasn't loved enough, or feeling like she wasn't loved enough. And his one mission from the time she was born was to make sure that never happened. Because that's what happened to him, you know? His mother didn't want him, his father didn't want him. Courtney sits there and she puts these little pieces of video in this documentary showing her being loving and kind. What she doesn't tell you guys is about the times that she told him he was worthless, that he made her sick to look at, that he was a fucking phony, that he was never gonna be anything or do anything, it was all bullshit. You know, everybody fucking turned their backs on him. The people that he thought loved him turned their backs on him, except his band. He had Chris, and he had Dave, and, you know, and he had Frances, and that's who he had. And he never wanted her to feel like her parents didn't want her, which is exactly what happened. Her dad died, the whole world told her, hey, look, your dad committed suicide, didn't love you enough to live, and then she had a mother who was too fucked up to whatever to take care of her, and tossed her off on her grandma, and, I mean, yeah, history repeated itself, which was Kurt's biggest fear. And I found this documentary to be, in some ways, very good. I'm not going to say it wasn't. There, in some aspects, it was really good. And then in other aspects, it was bullshit. And overall, it was sad. I mean, whether you believe he killed himself, or whether you believe he was murdered, or whatever, he had a very sad life. And that was really really delved into in this. So, if you're a Cobain fan, or a Nirvana fan, or whatever, and you've been thinking about watching this, and, you know, even if you think that he didn't kill himself and you don't really want to watch another documentary from that point of view, even though that is from that point of view, it is still a good documentary. There will be parts that piss you off if you believe Courtney's full of shit, but whenever Courtney's involved, there's always parts that will piss you off because Courtney is full of shit. Yeah. But I just wanted to tell y'all what I thought about it. It really is good. And Frances did a good job in her first production endeavor. You know, so much like her daddy. But anyway, I hope y'all have a beautiful week, and I hope y'all remember to smile.